I learned that from a father of a child with cerebral palsy in Indonesia. He was told his child would never walk or talk, and he asked why, and they said he doesn't have myelin in the brain and cholesterol, and he said, well, how do you get cholesterol in the brain? And they said they didn't know. So he looked it up, kind of like the old movie Lorenzo's Oil, where the parents are in the library 24/7 trying to figure it out.
You can make it without ketones. So cholesterol is part of the lipid structure of the brain's a nerve cell, whether it's an astrocyte or a neuron or the myelin itself. I've got long-chain fatty acids in what's called phospholipids. That's the way they're put into membranes. But there's also molecules of cholesterol in there. And the brain is largely autonomous in relation to most of the fats it accumulates. It makes them itself. And so you don't have to eat cholesterol to get cholesterol into the brain. You can take a statin and it will presumably reduce your blood cholesterol. And in fact, some early statins do in fact block cholesterol synthesis in the brain, are extremely dangerous for malformations. So women who are at risk of pregnancy and need to take a statin have got to be on a contraceptive to avoid that huge risk. So cholesterol is extremely important for early brain development, and ketones are they're a major substrate to make the cholesterol in the brain. They're not the only ones, but they are the main one, at least in the first 2 years of life.
So how else can you make cholesterol?
Well, glucose we know is converted, and most people sort of stopped inquiring as to where the carbon from glucose for cholesterol comes from once they stumbled over glucose. But in fact, ketones are a much better substrate for cholesterol synthesis in the brain. And saturated fats. It's not just cholesterol. So to make myelin, as you said, absolutely. If you want to try to, and this applies to aging because myelin deteriorates with age as well. And so perhaps I hadn't thought about whether you could correct the hypomyelination in childhood, a genetic disorder presumably. But we think we are seeing evidence of improved myelin structure in older people that are on a ketogenic intervention. So it's consistent.
The demyelinating diseases like multiple sclerosis would be a target that might theoretically improve.
Absolutely. And, I don't know if anyone started to look at that, but it's definitely worth a go.
Well, so I had the great fortune to travel around the U.S., once to Vancouver, so it includes Canada, talking to people, and on Saturdays, people would, come out and talk about low-carb keto diets. This is before the pandemic. And several people told me their multiple sclerosis was better. And I know just enough about the disease to know that it comes and goes, and that it's very difficult to know for sure unless you really stick with it, or even better yet, randomize people